What's the best way to say what you want to say? What's the best format or medium to convey your message? That's what I'm always thinking about. Like I feel like I've spread myself too thin because I came from a theatre background because I'm just naturally quite a theatrical person. And then I've discovered throughout my life all these different mediums, all these different platforms, and we've moved into this digital age where, now people can just broadcast themselves on Instagram and YouTube, which is, I think it's got pros and cons. There's no gatekeepers anymore. I mean, you can just create from a place of authenticity and vulnerability. And if people resonate with your stuff, they'll flock to you. Or if you can create things that people find valuable, they'll listen instead of needing an acting agent or you got the acting agent that needs to approve of you. They've got to send your profile off to a casting agent. They've got to approve of you. And sometimes it's not even your fault. Like now you can just create anything from nothing and see what happens. But if you do want to build an audience, you do kind of have to provide value to people, which is kind of what I'm trying to explore right now. But I'm always questioning what is the best way? What's the best medium? I'm all over the show. I started this channel with a podcast because I was like, well, I don't have anything to say. Well, I don't know how to say what I need to say. So I'm just going to interview smart people. And then, I was doing theatre and then I'm like, no one watches theatre anymore. So I'm like, I'll get into comedy. Comedy's an accessible art form. It's the most widely known, widely watched. And what makes comedians interesting is not so much their jokes, it's the view they have of the world. They've just got to sort of put it into joke structure to align with the format. But it's them, it's their personality, and it's what they say and then putting it into jokes. Like people resonate with that stuff. I mean, it's probably one of the most difficult art forms, though I'll say. Like it's the simplest. I say easily accessible because you can kind of just write some material, show up at an open mic. Not like theatre. I've come from theatre. We have to hire a venue, force all my friends to come. Another art form I really like is performance art. Performance art is difficult to define and honestly, most of it fails because performance artists are trying to convey ideas in new ways. And 95% of experiments fail, but that's where innovation happens, right? Marina Abramovich, one of the most famous performance artists, differentiated between theatre and performance art. She was like, theatre isn't real. Performance is real. In theatre, you're using props and characters to convey an idea. In performance, you're using yourself and your body. Like you are the performance. The heart of performance art often is social critique, but it's quite often, it's very left-leaning. I can't quite figure out why that is. Performance art is often a tool used by artists to raise questions about how art relates to us and the social world. But it's often inaccessible because, you don't really know quite often it's really conceptual and you don't really understand really what's going on. So it can often feel like really abstract and conceptual, and that can really alienate people. It's very different to comedy. When you go to a comedy show, you kind of know what you're getting. Performance art, you don't know what you're getting, which I think is kind of exciting. Another thing that can cause audiences to kind of feel detached from it is it's not straightforward. It's not narrative driven, which I don't know, I'm kind of interested in, but it can come across as a little bit elitist or deliberately niche. Like you think you need an arts degree to understand what the heck is going on. But I don't know. These are just interesting things to think about. So I'm always trying to think about which format to use. Does anyone read anymore? Like I kind of feel like the only purpose of writing a book is to go on podcasts and talk to people about what your book is about. We're sort of we already are entering the new age where we're sort of changing the way we get information. What medium is the best medium to best convey my idea? Which platform to use?